To this short revision video, I'm going to be going over some key ideas from the poetry modules we studied this year. This is for Year 7 and Year 8. Lots of your content was quite similar. If it's just for Year 8, I'll let you know. Okay, the first thing we're going to revisit is this idea of stressed and unstressed syllables. You're probably aware by now that in our natural speech, there are some syllables that are stressed more than others. A syllable is just a beat in a word. Mrs. Beatty has 4. How many are in your name? Clap it out if you like. Okay, so obviously it's sometimes hard to tell which are the stressed syllables and which are not, but we can train our ears to listen out for them. Daniel and Danielle is a great way of thinking about stressed and unstressed syllables. The two names obviously look different on paper, but they sound very subtly different to the ear. Daniel stresses the first syllable of that word, Daniel. When we annotate stressed syllables, we add a little upwards slash above the syllable that's emphasized, not the whole word, just the part of the word that's said more loudly, more fervently than the other part. So Daniel, 2 syllables, it's got 2 marks, the upward slash, and then where it's an unstressed syllable, we put a little cross. How do I know it's stressed? Well, if I turn it round and said Danielle, I've actually got a different name. The stressed syllable there falls on the yell, and the Dan is actually less emphasized. It's unstressed in this word. So stress is a natural part of our speech. By putting the words in a particular order, a poem can make patterns of these stresses. And that's basically what meter is in poetry and rhythm. So let's have a look at a little example. Oh, what can ail the knight at arms, alone and palely loitering? Could you hear the stressed syllables there? Which words seem to be slightly more stressed than the others? You can take a minute now and have a think. Try and read it to yourself and listen to how it sounds in your head. I'm going to give you the answer. So actually the first syllable is unstressed, and then the following is stressed. You see it makes a pattern. Oh, what can ail the knight at arms, alone and palely loitering? Now that pattern is actually a type of meter or a metrical foot. So the pattern in that case was unstressed, stressed. And that's a metrical foot. It's a metrical foot called an iamb. So if you think of a foot as like a single unit of measurement, okay, like an inch or a centimetre, and it's repeated within a line of poetry. Okay, so in a line of poetry, you don't get, generally, it's all the same metrical foot over and over again, and that's what makes the pattern. I'll give you the first and most important example, the iamb. The iamb. This is important for Year 7 and Year 8, okay? The most common metrical foot, because it reflects the natural cadence of our speech in the English language. Iamb is just like the one we saw, an unstressed and then a stressed syllable. So, for example, reward, delay, invent, overt, in case, forlorn. And if you have a look at the little shoes, you see my little shoes, got a little tiny belly of shoe, and then a big boot, because it's a quieter first beat and a louder second beat. Da-dum. Okay, so that's an iamb. So if you think about it in a line of poetry, if you had 2 iambs next to each other, you would have how many syllables? 4. If you had 3 next to each other, you would have 6. And if you had 4, it would be 8. And if you had 5, it would be 10 beats in line. And that's actually iambic pentameter, which is the most common verse form that Shakespeare uses. And it's going to come up in the Shakespeare revision video as well. But lots of poets use it. Okay, The second one, and this is primarily for year 8, but still helpful for year 7, is the anapest. An anapest has got a different shape. It's dum. So you've got 2 quiet, unstressed syllables and then 1 stressed syllable. Okay, so if you think of it as 2 ballet shoes and then 1 big boot. And there's lots of poets who use this. It gets a lovely galloping sound. It's great for poems about horses and dancing. It's great for poems where you want to have a kind of exciting lilting motion. So we've got some examples here. In the light of the moon, over hill, over dale. Can you hear that lilting motion it gets? Well, that's an anapest. In that little line you can see on the screen, in the light of the moon, over hill, over dale, we've actually got 4 anapests. If you had 2, it would be dimeter. 3, it would be trimeter. 4, it would be like Tetris, it would be tetrameter. If you had 5, it would be like a pentagon, it would be pentameter. So, a little bit dull, I know. But year 8, you will remember studying the destruction of Sennacherib, which had a really vivid description of a biblical story, and it uses anapestic tetrameter throughout, and you may remember reading some of it. Okay, and year 7, you'll probably remember reading some war poems that use iambic pentameter, or an iambic rhythm, to describe the events that happened in what reflects often soldiers' voices. So don't feel intimidated by this second side of your knowledge organizer, these poetry ones that I've made. In fact, I've actually taken, can you see the green matches what's on the screen? I've actually taken it from there so that it would look really similar. But I just wanted to re-explain that because it's been a while since you taught it at school and I want it to be really clear. So, stressed syllables are naturally emphasized. In Daniel, it's the Dan. In Danielle, it's the L. And syllables are just the beats in a word, because, BT, etc. And the way a poet organises those can make a pattern. Oh, what can ail thee knight at arms is actually iambic tetrameter, because you've got oh, what can ail thee knight at arms, got 8 beats, and each beat is in a little pair, which is an iamb, so you've got 4 pairs of iambs, like that. Okay, and in each iamb, the first one is always unstressed and second is always stressed. You're going to be poetry pros. So, hopefully you'll remember the verse form that Shakespeare uses is iambic pentameter, because it's 5 iambs, but that means it's got 10 syllables. You've got it. Okay, well done everybody, and keep learning.